Hello, I'm Vara,
And I'm Roxy.
and you're listening to VCR. I'm not editing that out. Hello, Roxy. How are you?
Busted.
Yeah.
Busted.
How is your day, Roxy?
It's been a day. It's
It's
been a
been a
day.
day. Yeah.
Yes. But thank goodness I'm feeling much better.
Good. Good. I'm glad because you've had an adventurous day today.
Last week, today, like it's
Mm,
been a adventurous week.
yeah, it has been. It has been. But speaking of adventures, let's go down a weird little adventure. I'm not exactly even sure how we came up with this topic. I just know we came up with the topic, then I got sick, then Roxy had to go have a procedure, and
Hmm.
so
And
now
then I got sick.
then she got sick, and now we're just now getting to this topic.
Yeah.
But we are jumping on the topic of Chicano films, some of the best Chicano films ever made. Now, some of you out there, especially on other parts of the world, may be asking, what is a Chicano film? Uh, Let me go ahead and break that down for you. First off, Chicano is basically in reference to, uh, let's say, Mexican Americans. So, like, I'm an example of Mexican American. Roxy is an example of Mexican American, where we are of Mexican descent, but we are Americans. So we identify as Mexican Americans, and some people will refer to themselves as Chicanos, not just to identify themselves as Mexican Americans, but also to identify themselves as part of a political movement as well. The Chicano term really comes to life in the 60s with the Brown movement during the Civil Rights era. A lot of people did not know there was a brown movement, but yes, there was a brown movement along with the black movement during the civil rights era, and thus the term Chicano was born. So that is trying to give you just a very brief history, so
Little
we can
rundown.
explore. Yeah, exactly. So we can explore what Chicano films are, because Chicano films tend to be like Mexican American films, or they're not politicized, but they tend to be, films dealing with being Mexican American or growing up Hispanic in the United States, or the brown experience, as one would
Yeah.
like to say. But that's something that's kind of like loosely used because there are so many different cultures that are brown. So
Yeah.
but the Brown experience is basically what it was back in the day. And some of these films still get made, not as much as they used to, but they still get made. So we're gonna kind of explore some of our favorite Chicano films ever made. We have a whole list of them, but we're probably just gonna hit on the ones that I can say I've definitely seen, and the ones that Roxy has seen, and things like that. So before I share screen, let's go ahead and get this fight out the way. Roxy, we talked about this earlier. We're going to jump into it now. There is a really good Chicano film, or the ones that are considered one of the best Chicano films is the movie Selena. Okay,
Hmm.
dealing with it's a movie about the life of Quintanilla, who was murdered, and it is a great, great film. Jennifer Lopez played Selena.
I still cry when I watch it.
Yes, Selena is a huge icon. It not just here in Texas, mostly in Texas, but uh, nationally, she just really made it.
Mhm.
Um, one of the few Mexicanas that you can say did make it onto that level.
Yeah.
She was set to be the next Gloria Estefan in many ways,
Yeah.
um, but tragically taken away from us. However, this Chicano film has kind of brought up a different controversy that Roxy was filling me in on. That I was like, who the hell green lighted this project?
Seriously.
It's like someone said okay to this. Like, so Roxy, fill the audience in. What is coming off this Selena train?
So there is I believe, three-part documentary coming out where they're interviewing Yolanda Saldivar and getting her side of the story, quote unquote, which fuck that. Who cares? You get no say.
Yes, basically.
I'm angry. Like,
So
You don't give a shit what you have to say. We really don't.
Yeah, so for our international audience who may not be familiar with this, and even our American audience may not be as familiar, depending on what part of the US you're in.
Right.
But Yolanda was the woman who murdered Selena, basically shot her. Was it in the face or in the back? I can't remember.
In
She shot her a few times.
the stomach or something.
And it was over money. It was over like
She was
Yolanda,
embezzling.
she was embezzling money and then she got caught. And
Hmm.
then she wanted to meet with Selena to straighten things out and then ends up shooting her and killing her. And now, apparently, Bravo thinks, hey, you know what won't be offensive or piss all the other Hispanic people off? Let's do an interview giving the murderer side of the story. I was like, what the hell is wrong with
There's
Bravo?
there's there's this guy on TikTok and he's like, man, I should have gotten his name. But he was like, there's not one Latino or Hispanic on that. What did he say? There's no Latinos on that work for Bravo
Yeah.
because as soon as they brought this idea to the table, they would have flipped that table over and been like, "You're out of your fucking mind."
Yeah, there would have been like, hell no. But
Hell
it's
no.
on the level of stupidity of there was a sitcom that was created many, many years ago, and just the premise alone was so bad. It was like, how did people okay this? I'm gonna have to look up the title, but it was literally a comedy series about Hitler and Hitler living in this like apartment complex and his neighbors
What?
are Jewish.
What?
You no joke, this is a real thing. And his name,
No.
yeah, no, I'm not lying. They actually made a series, and the neighbors were Jewish. And so they were hiding the neighbors. Like, I think it was Hitler's girlfriend or something was like, oh, they really liked the Jewish couple. So they were trying to hide it from him that they were Jewish. I was like, someone approved this? And
Who
and
thought that was a good
it
idea?
only aired one episode and then they was canceled immediately.
Yeah, I bet.
That's how I feel about this Yolanda Saldivar thing. Like, I'm sorry, who greenlighted this stupidity?
Seriously, who
Like,
thought this was a great idea?
I'm thinking it's the same exec who greenlighted the Adolf Hitler thing. I
Probably,
was like,
right?
the fuck is wrong with y'all?
Oh my God. I just can't believe this is
Yeah, I
like
can't.
really
When you
happening.
told me that, even I was like, I almost like stopped in my car and I was like, I'm
Excuse
sorry,
me, what?
what the hell are they doing?
Excuse me, what?
What? So, Roxy, let me do what I do and share screen with you. So, I want to go ahead and kick this off with the Chicano movement became a very big deal, but the father of Chicano film, oh, and this man is well credited and well known for it. Uh, Luis Valdez
Hmm.
is the father of Chicano film. What he did was he created this genre of Chicano cinema, and he is widely known for it. He originally started off doing theater,
Hmm.
creating plays to teach people how to vote during the during the civil rights movement, and then it blew into other things and became movies. And he also has his own little theater where he still does productions, from my understanding. But nonetheless, want to go ahead and credit him because a lot of people don't know that and just want to put it out there. But let's get into some of these more interesting Chicano films. And there are some really good ones, and there are some that will be like, I don't know what that is. Uh, but let's get into one that Roxy can probably relate to. Oddly, and I'm gonna put this out here, this is a Cheech and Chong film, as Roxy
I'm
sees.
already in.
Yep. Up in Smoke,
Oh, I love that
1976.
movie.
Yeah, there you go. Up
Love
in
that movie.
Up in Smoke, Cheech Marin, Tommy Chong. They are doing their Cheech and Chong
Is that
stuff.
the one where he sings that song, Mexican
I
Americans?
believe that one is up, and yeah, I believe that is in there. Uh,
Oh my God.
that is
My
one.
mama talking to me, trying to tell me how to
uh,
live.
Mexican Americans do things slower, but
I know. I was thinking of the other song when they were playing the concert.
Oh, that one too. Yeah, I
Oh
know which
yeah, but
one you're
there's
talking
Mexican
about.
Americans. We don't want to get up early, but we do it because we have to. And
But
we do it real slowly.
it's a comedy. It is
Oh my
a great
gosh.
comedy. It's one the of course the stoner
Mhm.
Chicano comedies, and it was so good. Uh it
So
was
good.
just really good,
I might watch that
hysterical.
tonight.
But it's one of these that, really, really, when it came out, just made the scene. It was something that a lot of people were happy about because, you didn't have a whole lot of Chicano representation back then.
Yeah.
And sadly, 2024, we still don't have that
Still
representation
don't
that
have
we should,
representation.
which
Like
is
it's
pretty
it's a
bad.
little more,
Hmm.
but not that much.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for the longest, we only had this guy, Edward James Olmos, for a long
Hmm.
time. You
Yeah.
know, him and Ricardo Montalban were the only Hispanic representation on TV that we had for a very, very long time.
Hmm.
But getting into it, another one that I know I have seen, I don't know if you've seen it, Roxy, because maybe a little bit before you, 1978, Boulevard Nights.
Mm-mm.
Okay, this
Don't know
was,
that one.
oh my God, this was a really good one. If you're going to study any Chicano film, this would be one of the best ones to do. Boulevard Nights. It's basically the lowrider scene, La Raza.
Mm.
You are kind of, it takes place in East Los Angeles. It's about these gangs, of course, but they're, Chicano gangs. It was a really, really good movie. Um, it's something that kind of brought a lot of attention to like being poor and Hispanic and the struggles with that, But Boulevard Nights was a really good one. And the reason it's Boulevard Nights is because everyone would go out on the boulevard and they had their low riders, and it was really good. It was just one of the better ones. Also dealt with the drug use back then as well. Some of the fun stuff like, huffing paint, from back in the day.
Yeah. The hardcore stuff like huffing
Yeah,
paint.
yes, just a few things like that. Another one just for Roxy's funsies, as my dogs tear each other up. Um, Cheech and Chong next movie.
Next movie.
Needless to say what that's about. I hate to do this, but give me 1 second, please. Uh, Roxy, just please give me one tiny second. Oh
Okay.
my God, be quiet. Yeah, I'm not editing that out because this is what I live with every day of my life.
I was wondering, like, is he gonna edit that out, or are we
No,
just
this is
gonna leave
gonna
it?
be like
I was gonna
every,
be like, we heard all of that.
yeah,
You weren't quiet.
yeah. I was like, Jesus Christ, every day of my life. But you got Cheech and Chong's next movie. This one I want to say is the one it was more like a bunch of different little movies that were put together, a bunch of different
Oh,
stories, little storiettes that were put
which one
together.
was the one where he had that girl in the hotel? They were like,
Oh, maybe that one is it. I'm
is
maybe
that
I got
that one?
could very well be. Could very well be. But anyway, this was one of the other ones that kind of come out and during that time. Again, more comedic side to the same thing of what we're looking at. This one, Zoot Suit, 1981. Do you remember this?
No, but I know Zoot Suit Riot.
Well, that's kind of where this comes from. So this is a musical.
Oh,
Zoot Suit is a musical starring Edward James Olmos, 1981. It was directed by Luis Valderez. It there was a lot going on with this. This was not one of my favorites because
no.
it was not. It was definitely not one of my favorite. It is a good one and it has its absolute rights in cinematic history. Um, I think this is one of the very few movies that, dealt with the issue of the Zoot Suit riots. For those of you who don't know about that, Zoot Suit riots happened in Los Angeles. These police officers killed some Zoot Suiters who were Hispanics, and there was no, it wasn't police. It was Navy. The Navy, they got into this fight. Some people died. Then the police got involved. All this other stuff. It became a huge, huge riot. That's why they're
Mhm.
called the Zoot Suit riots. And
Took
not
place
all.
from June 3rd through the 8th of 1943 in Los Angeles, involving American servicemen stationed in Southern California and a young Latino and Mexican American city residents.
Mhm. And there's a lot of murders here.
Yeah.
Um, and you can imagine who was murdering who at that point.
Hmm.
But that was um, a very big historical moment in the U.S., a very dark historical moment.
Yeah.
Luis Valdez makes a film called The Zoot Suit Riots. It's called an American original. It is a musical. Again, I like what he did. I like the attention that he brought to it. I just saying it wasn't one of my favorites because I'm not a musical kind of guy. And watching
I
Edward
love
James
musicals.
almost trying to sing was not the best time ever. But a very good film, one of the good Chicano films you probably need to check out at some point. I think it's definitely worth it. One that I absolutely love. I don't know if Roxy's going to agree with me or not. La Bamba.
Love that movie.
La
How can you not
Bamba.
love that movie?
You gotta love it. The
I
story
still
is
ugly cry.
you still ugly
I
cry.
still ugly cry on that movie. Oh my
Uh,
God. When
so
mom like screams, and then when his brother screams at the end, I'm like, not running out and
Richie.
everything.
So La Bamba was also directed by Luis Valdez. It is based on Richie Valens' life. If you don't know Richie Valens, he of course has many hits. He is one of the very few Hispanic singers at the time. Um, and in the 50s, and basically he has a song La Bamba, uh
Hmm.
what is it?
Oh,
Donna, oh Donna.
I love
He had a
Donna.
few other big hits too. And then he tragically dies in a plane crash
Hmm.
with the Big Bopper and Buddy
Buddy
Holly.
Holly.
Yeah. Lubbock, Texas, only claim to fame, Buddy Holly. So it's a biopic about Richie Valens, um, who is just a really, really big thing in Chicano history,
Hmm.
especially in the Chicano music scene. And this movie will make you cry at some point. But like it was also, a story about, oppression. He lived a very oppressive life before he made it. His family and everything, working the fields, getting cheated, having to go from plantation to, well, farm to farm to, try to make ends meet. It was a really, really great movie. And La Bamba, it's one that I haven't seen in a while, but oh my God, it I'm not gonna say it makes me ugly cry, but
Oh,
Roxy likes to ugly cry at a lot of things.
ugly cry.
And she does ugly cry.
Snot bubbles and everything.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. One of my favorite comedies, again, we're getting back to Cheech Marin of Cheech and Chong. I was born in East LA. I was born. So Born in East LA was a great
That
comedy.
was a good
Uh,
one.
this was this was hysterical. I remember seeing it as a child. I love a lot of Cheech Marin's work because,
Yeah.
he again, he was one of the very few actors in the Hispanic actors in the 80s who was really doing anything and getting his name out there. So regardless if it was stoner comedy, he was out there doing it.
Yeah.
And I have to give props to this man. So I have a book here and I need to pull it out one day so Roxy can see it. But he has a art show called Chicano Vision that
Hmm.
travels the US, and he came to university where I was working. I helped to do the media for that, and he autographed a book for me and gave
Nice.
it to me. So I have this wonderful memorabilia of him because it's like, he's very, very big, and y- what can I say? We didn't have a whole lot of representation growing up.
We did not.
We did not at all. Um, One that I want to say this is the one I knew. Did you ever see this Sweet 15?
No.
Neither did I. Okay, so moving on. So, um, one of the other ones that kind of like really captured me growing up, and again, this one was a hard one to watch. American Me.
Mm-hmm.
American Me was a hard one to watch. Uh, that dealt with a lot of fucked up shit.
Yeah, I did.
It was like prison. It was, Edward James Olmos directed it. You had these Chicanos who were in prison and dealing with the prison system. And oh my God, this is where I learned about they don't really rape men like that in prison. I was like, oh my God, do they really rape men like that in prison? And
Mhm.
so, yeah, this was a really eye-opening movie for me. I don't know about you, Roxy,
Yeah, no,
but
yeah.
growing up, I remember watching this with my cousins, and I was like, no, what the hell's happening here?
Like, wait.
Like, what? So yeah, this was a very eye-opening movie, American Me, and it's totally worth it if you're going to maybe like explore some Chicano films. These next three that I'm going to tell you about, you definitely need to jump on that. One of my personal favorites, 1992. These two, American Me, and this next one came out in 1992, El Mariachi.
Antonio Banderas?
Well, no, this is the precursor. This is
Oh.
um Antonio Banderas was not in this one. This is where all that comes from, though. Starts it off. This is Robert Rodriguez's first film that makes
Oh.
it. It was so. I remember seeing this. I saw it with my dad because my dad was a journalist, and they gave him tickets to review it because he was one of the very few who could actually review this from a Hispanic standpoint. And it was absolutely brilliant. I had never seen anything like that before. This later on gives rise to the other movies that come after it, which is Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. So this is the story that launches those two stories. So you have to watch El Mariachi to fully understand it. It was a really, really great movie. It's about, this man trying to get revenge. He's a mariachi player, but you know, his uh his mariachi case has a gun in it, and it can be triggered by pressing it. Again, it was one of his first films, Robert Rodriguez's first films. Brilliant, brilliant movie. Must check it out. I don't want to give too much away, but you see, like, oh my God, this is your first movie, but it was so
Hmm.
good, even for a first low budget movie. It was really good. This next one, Roxy, tell me if you're familiar.
Yep,
Blood
very
In,
familiar.
huh? You're
Very
familiar.
familiar.
Blood In, Blood Out, one of the best Chicano. This is probably one of the more famous Chicano films out there is Blood In, Blood Out. This came
Hmm.
out in 1993. This had an amazing list of stars. This even, I think, I want to say, if I'm right, this launches the career of Benjamin Bratt. I want to say this one launches his career.
Oh yeah, right.
I could be
Yeah.
wrong. Billy Bob Thornton was in it too.
I didn't know Billy Bob was
Yeah,
in this.
he was in it. He was in it. So, it's a very, very interesting movie. You gotta watch it. Again, it's from, you know, growing up in an abusive family. You have racism, you have
Mm,
drugs, you have oppression. All these things are themes in, Blood Out. And it's one of these things that just kind of, really explores that poverty and oppression that, Chicanos
mhm.
were going through at the time. one of the best ones. Now here's one with a really good actor, Juan Rodriguez, also one of the few Hispanic actors out there at the time who really,
Oh,
really did a lot.
yes, I remember that
A
movie.
Million to One was really
Yeah.
good. It was funny. It was basically about this guy. He's a dad trying to raise his kid, and he was basically selling oranges on the side of the street. This guy comes up, makes him a weird offer, like, I'm going to give you $1 million, but you can't spend it. And if you don't spend it, it's yours. So it's this comedy based on not spending $1 million when he has $1 million type of thing. And so it's actually really funny. It really is. But I'm sorry, Paul Rodriguez. I don't know why I called him Juan Rodriguez,
Did you
but
call him Juan Rodriguez? I
I
didn't
did.
even
I
catch
think
that.
I did. Yeah, Paul Rodriguez. I'm an idiot, and forgive me if you heard me say that. Um,
Well, I'll agree with the idiot part.
There you go. There you go. A couple other films here, just for the sake, because I really enjoyed them. Of course, in 1995, you have Desperado with also Robert Rodriguez film. Antonio Banderas stars in this. Selma Hayek, Cheech Marin. I'm not
Hmm.
huge on Quentin Tarantino, but he's in it. Uh, But this is one of the more fantasy,
Hmm.
action-packed type of Chicano stories that are out there. But Desperado was really, really good. It was great when it came out.
It
And
was.
again, this is kind of like the sequel to El Mariachi. So
Hmm.
really, really, you have to watch El Mariachi to really fully understand and appreciate
You
Desperado.
passed a movie up.
That you want? Which movie do you want?
I saw Mi Vida Loca in there.
Mi Vida Loca, yes, 1994.
Mm.
You remember this? I
Love
never
that.
saw it.
Yes, I loved that movie.
Take us down memory lane.
Oh my
Pourquoi?
God. All I remember is like giggles and mouthy and sad girl. And they
So
were
this
like,
is This is
huh?
basically also about kind of like oppression and gang
Yeah,
life, but
basically.
from the female perspective, from the Chicana perspective,
Hmm.
which is really huge because honestly, I want to say this is the only one out there that is like this. Like
Yeah, I
there
think
wasn't
so.
another one. Um, so this was the only one out there that is like this, that is coming from the Chicana
Man, I
perspective.
haven't seen this movie in ages. I loved it though when I was a teenager.
Mm. Wow, maybe this is something we should both revisit sometime.
Right? I think I am gonna have to revisit this movie. It's been forever.
Going into it, keeping on the Robert Rodriguez train, 1996, From Dusk Till Dawn.
That's a good one.
This is a horror movie. Vampires, this is what
This is
makes
the one where Selma Hayek comes out all sexy, right?
with a snake. Yes,
The snake,
this is
yeah.
what launches
And
Zelma Hayek to
she
us.
makes
Yeah,
what's his name? Quentin Tarantino drink beer from her left
I
foot,
think it was champagne. Yeah,
champagne, whatever.
yeah. So it was George Clooney was in it. It was one of the best Robert Rodriguez
Mhm.
films I have ever seen till this day. Another one I want to kind of jump into, 1996, also Lone Star was really good. Lone Star
What
was
was
an
that?
independent film. It was super, super creepy, but it was about basically interracial love and this white man and this
Mhm.
Mexicana got together and they had kids, right? But they couldn't be together because it was Texas and they were two different races, right? That wasn't acceptable at that time. So they have these kids and they're growing up in this small town and the boy becomes the sheriff of this town and then the daughter goes off and comes back. But the mother and father are always trying to keep these two kids away from each other because they don't know that they're brother and sister, but
Mm.
they have this attraction to each other, and and the thing is they fall in love with each other, and
Oh,
they do naughty things with each other,
oh
and then it is discovered y'all are brother and sister, and so
no!
yeah,
No thanks. I would
yeah.
be. so disgusted.
Lone Star was a really, really great movie, though.
Oh my gosh.
Really was. And jumping into this, we're just going to mention it briefly because we already talked about it. 1997 gives way to Selena.
Yes.
Yay. So we've already talked about that earlier in the show, so we're going to jump back. I'm going to go,
I
huh?
I see A Walk in the Clouds and
Yes.
Fools Russian.
Yes. Okay. So A Walk in the Clouds, I want to hit up because I did see that. I jumped into
Love
something else.
that
Um,
movie.
Walk in the Clouds, 1995, Keanu Reeves.
Such a great movie. I'm gonna cry right now.
Yeah, that was such a good movie. It is dealing with the issues of like what I just talked about. You got this white guy who falls in love with this Mexicana in
Hmm.
California,
Her
and
dad's not having it.
he's not having it because it's this white guy and they're an interracial couple, and the dad's really upset, not just because he's white, but he's like, what is society going to say? How is society going to treat you? And you have kids and they're going to be these half-bred kids, and like, and back then that was really, really a big deal. Like, you didn't
Hmm.
marry outside your race. But this was such an incredible movie and a very romantic movie too, dealing with oppressive subjects. But I would definitely, if you have a moment, check out A Walk in the Clouds. It
Hmm.
is so very good. We're gonna do one more. I'll let you pick one, Roxy.
Let me
Okay, so
see.
I'll go ahead and pick. No kidding.
I thought I said Fools Russian.
I guess you did, didn't you? Yeah, let's
Yes, I
just
did.
jump into full. So Fools Rush In is a thing. Uh,
That's the one with Selma Hayek, right? And
Selma Hayek, and you
Matthew
have
Perry.
Math. Yeah, it wasn't my favorite, but it's a
I thought it
romantic.
was cute.
I know you did. It's a romantic comedy. Matthew Perry, Selma Hayek, they fall in love. All these shenanigans come in. Of course, you have the
Hmm.
shenanigan, the cultural differences. Now that was funny, like her family versus his family was
Yeah.
really good. Like the huge, massive, loud Mexicano family compared to his very small, subtle, tamed Anglo family. That was a really, really good movie as well. One that I want to find, and I'm probably not going to find it on here quick enough.
Mm.
Under the Same Moon. That was
I don't think I've seen that.
so good. So it's basically about this mom who leaves
The Curse
to,
of La Llorona.
huh?
I
It's
can't say it. The Curse of La
La
Llorona.
Llorona. La Llorona.
Yeah,
No, we're
I had
not
to
doing
really
that.
think about that. I
So
was like,
anyway,
that, who is it? Yeah, I don't know.
so Under the Same Moon is about this mom who goes to the United States and she's working, cleaning floors, stuff like that, to try to make a better
Hmm.
life for her son. Her son is back in Mexico being taken care of by this woman. And then what happens is the son wants to be with his mom so bad. Here it is, Under the Same Moon, that he runs away from Mexico to be with his mom in America. And the thing is, he ends up getting lost. He ends up getting kidnapped. He almost ends up getting human trafficked. And all he has is this P.O. box to go off of to try to find his mom. And it is a really great film. You have to check it out. But that
I will
is
have to check that out. That sounds really good.
Yep, Under the Same Moon. But let's say you want to give us some of your suggestions. You can definitely do that at the VCR Show on Insta and Twitter, or email us to the VCR Show at gmail.com, or hit us up on our website and social or YouTube at the VCR Show. And you can always check out Roxy and share your film ideas with her at her socials, which are
On Facebook at Roxy Perez Curvy Model, on Instagram at PopRox428, and on TikTok at ThePoproxx. And PopRox is spelled Poproxx.
and until next time, I'm Vara.
And I'm Roxy.
Need some sweet treats for your next big event? Or maybe you just have a sweet tooth? Check out Skippity Cakes. That's Skippity Cakes, SKIPPITYCAKES.com. Check them out for all of your sweet treat needs, things such as cakes, cupcakes, and cake pops. Also, check them out for their varieties of face masks, t-shirts, and coffee mugs. Say hi to our friend Rosie for us. You have been listening to VCR, creative content by Richard Christopher Vara and Roxy Perez. Logo by Richard Christopher Vara with assistance from Annie Ramirez. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach us at thevcrshow@gmail.com or our social medias at Instagram and Twitter at the VCR Show. And you can also check out our content at thevcrshow.com. The show song is Addict by Nefex, instrumental, and you can find them on YouTube Music Library.